my YouTube channel. Today I'll be talking about two practical steps to Bible interpretation. The first one is contextual Bible reading. The second one is structural Bible reading. Contextual Bible reading simply means reading in context. What is the topic that is being discussed? While structural Bible reading talks about the individual meaning, how to integrate the individual meaning of the words that are used in order to build a body of knowledge that has been communicated. So my text today is the book of Matthew chapter 5 verse 48, which says, be ye therefore perfect, even as a Father which is in heaven is perfect. Now if you read only this verse, what you would imply is the fact that Jesus Christ is asking people to be perfect as God. Now, if we can be perfect as God, because the fact that He's demanding it for us means by our strength we can do it. If we can be perfect as God by our strength, then what do we need Christ for? Why do we need to be saved? But of course, that wasn't what He was saying here. What He was saying exists within a context, and that context, of course, gives meaning to it. Number one thing you need to discover is what was Christ talking about? And you get that in the book of Matthew chapter 5 verse 43. That's up, up, up. He says, ye have heard that it had been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thy enemy. You see. Now, the concept he was talking about is the concept of love. He was trying to teach us about love. And when you read that further, how did God comes into it? Verse 45, that ye may be the children of your Father, which is in heaven, for he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. So he was saying that you have heard that people have said you should love your friends and hate your enemy. He said, but that's not the way God does these things. The way God does these things is that God loves both his friends and his enemies. You see. So he now said, you should be like your father. You should be like your father. So when you read, and then it is in this context that he said, be ye therefore perfect, even as a Father which is in heaven is perfect. So what was he talking about? He was talking about love. So what was the perfection about? It was perfection in love. He could have said, be ye therefore perfect in love, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. Now, how has this one affected our interpretation? It means that Christ was not demanding that we be perfect in morals. He was talking about we should be perfect in our love work. And what is the perfect love? The same context explains it, that perfect love means you love your enemy at the same time you love your friends. Perfect love without partiality, you love completely everyone, even the unlovable. Now, but the second application is structural interpretation or structural reading. Now, the word be ye therefore is not actually in the Greek rendition, it's not actually be ye therefore. It says you will therefore. You will therefore. So if you want to put it in the proper sense, you will therefore be perfect, even as a Father which is in heaven is perfect. Why? You see, the fact that these words are broken into verses kind of suggests that these verses are independent, and they are not. They are built on one another. It says, you will therefore be perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. When you what? When you love both your friends and your enemies. So let's go through it again. You will therefore be perfect in what? In love. Even as your Father in heaven is perfect in love. When you what? When you love your friends and your enemy. I hope you have been blessed. Kindly subscribe to my channel. Come around. Ensure you learn from this great mind of knowledge as regards how to interpret the Bible. God bless.